Every dog is a unique individual, but perhaps every single one of them is always waiting to be understood. Science shows that being understood directly impacts a dog's stress levels, sense of safety, and quality of life far more than we imagine. That is also why 4Paws Mind is here, and why today we are going to explore 4 things your dog always wishes you did, things that may seem too small to notice, but have a greater impact than any toy or treat you have ever bought them. The first thing that many dogs spend their entire lives waiting for their owners to understand is listen when they say no. Sounds strange, right? Dogs don't talk. But in reality, they communicate with us constantly. They just don't use words. Imagine a toddler who can't talk yet, but can still turn their head away when they don't want to be held, back away when they feel scared, or avoid something they don't like. Dogs are exactly the same. They have an entire language of their own made up of body posture, movement, eye contact, and very subtle signals that most humans were never taught to recognize. A study conducted at Eötvös Loránd University in Hungary observed how dogs communicate with humans in various social situations. The researchers discovered that behaviors like turning the head away, licking the lips, avoiding eye contact, or lowering the body occurred significantly more often when dogs felt uncomfortable or wanted to de-escalate tension during interactions. In other words, these are not random actions, these are statements. The problem is that so many people don't hear them. A child wants to hug a dog. The dog turns its head away. The adults laugh and say it's being cute. A stranger reaches out to pet its head. The dog backs away slightly. The owner pulls it closer. A grooming session takes place. The dog repeatedly licks its lips and freezes up. The owner thinks it is just being impatient. Try looking at it from the dog's perspective. They communicated. They tried to say they were uncomfortable, but nobody responded. When that happens over and over again, dogs start to learn a dangerous lesson, that communication doesn't work. And when subtle signals no longer work, many dogs will escalate to more intense reactions, growling, barking, or in the worst-case scenarios, biting. What dogs really wish for is that you recognize that they are trying to say something, because when a dog knows that their signals are respected, they can continue to communicate using the subtlest signs. And that is exactly when trust begins to build. The second thing dogs spend their entire lives waiting for us to understand is that stability is the foundation of their sense of safety. Humans experience time through clocks, but dogs experience time through rhythm. Their lives are built on repetitive patterns. When their owner wakes up, when the door opens, when a familiar footstep echoes. In 2019, researchers at Linköping University in Sweden discovered that dogs' long-term stress levels tend to synchronize with those of their owners. The researchers measured cortisol in the hair of both dogs and humans and found that shifts in a human's prolonged emotional state can be reflected in the dog's body. This shows that dogs do not just live with us, they live inside the emotional atmosphere we create. That is why unpredictability can affect them far more than we realize. When mealtime shifts randomly, when daily schedules are constantly turned upside down, when the owner is cheerful one day and completely distant the next, our dogs do not understand what is happening. And an unpredictable world is a world that forces the nervous system to always stay on high alert. So many people wish for a calmer, less anxious, and more bonded dog. But they don't realize that those things usually start with consistency. Not perfection or special activities, but small things repeated often enough for the dog to rely on. To a human, a meal delayed by an hour might be insignificant. To a dog, it can be one of dozens of small signals saying that the world is becoming less predictable. The third thing dogs have been waiting a very long time for us to understand is that change is not easy for them. One day, a suitcase appears in the living room. A week later, furniture starts disappearing from its usual spots. Strangers walk into the house. Cardboard boxes pile up in the corner of the room. The owner is busier than usual. Humans know that this means moving, but dogs don't. To them, the world is changing without any explanation at all. A study published in Scientific Reports in 2023 tracked dogs newly adopted from shelters, measuring overnight activity, cortisol levels, and various other physiological indicators throughout the adaptation process. The results showed that even when the final destination was a better home, the dog's body still reacted to the change, and it took time for those indicators to gradually return to a stable state. This is something so many people overlook. We often think that as long as the change is positive, the dog will be fine, but a dog's brain doesn't process things that way. The very first thing they react to is the change itself. Only after that do they assess whether that change is safe. That is why some dogs become restless after moving. Some eat less when a new baby arrives in the family. Some start barking more when daily routines change. It is simply because they are trying to find the sense of stability that has vanished. You cannot explain to them in words that everything will be okay, but you can help them with simpler things, maintaining a few familiar routines, keeping items that carry a comforting scent, and giving them time to explore on their own instead of forcing them to adapt immediately. Those actions might be small to you, but to a dog trying to figure out what is happening to their world, they mean everything. 4. Give them a place that truly belongs to them. Have you ever seen a dog crawl under a table, lie under the bed, or choose a hidden corner of the house instead of the plush bed you bought them? So many people see this and think something is wrong, but sometimes the only thing happening is that the dog is looking for a place to feel safe. Researchers at the University of Padua in Italy looked into the impact of living space on dog behavior and welfare, and discovered that environments allowing dogs to have more control over their space were linked to fewer signs of stress, more exploratory behavior, and an overall better quality of life. Even humans need that: a private room, a familiar workspace, a chair where your body automatically relaxes the moment you sit down. Dogs are the same, but we often overlook this need simply because we don't realize it's there. A bed tucked away in a quiet corner, a crate with the door always left open, a blanket under a desk. The format doesn't matter as much as the feeling that place provides. This is my spot, and I won't be disturbed here. When a dog has a place like that, they no longer have to constantly search for safety, and when they stop searching, they can channel that energy into other things, into exploring, into playing, into truly bonding with you. This is also the thread that connects everything we have just talked about. Listening when they signal discomfort, creating a routine stable enough for them to rely on, walking by their side through major changes, and giving them a place that truly belongs to them on the surface. These seem like 4 different topics, but at a deeper level, they all revolve around the exact same question that a dog's nervous system tries to answer every single day. Is this world safe? When they turn their head away, when they cling to familiar routines, when they get anxious before a major change, when they retreat into a quiet corner of the room, those are all just different ways of seeking an answer to that very question. And what's special is that in a dog's life, most of that sense of safety doesn't come from the house, the food bowl, or the leash, but from the person they see first thing in the morning, the person they wait for at the door every afternoon, the person they look to when they hear a strange noise in the middle of the night. You. If this video helped you understand your dog just a little bit better, please share it with someone who loves their dog as much as you do. And as for your own dog, which of these 4 things resonated with you the most today? Let us know in the comments. And if you want to keep exploring the world from a dog's perspective, go ahead and subscribe to 4 Paws Mind. See you both soon.